TV. What happened here? You know what? I guess I'm an idiot because I didn't set up the intro video to play. So,
Really?
what can I say, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday evening for the premiere episode number 1, or podcast number 1 on the new Sounding Off podcast channel. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Eddie, and I am your host in Moscow, and my co-host Kevin Michelizzi in Crimea. And yeah, kind of a rough little start there, but we did make it.
It's a first show. What do you want?
It's a first show, yeah, and I guess I didn't set up everything right. But anyway, who cares? We got some stuff to talk about today. Some things have happened here, but before that, and while this way we can give an opportunity, and if you guys, I'm looking right over here because my cat is trying to jump out the window. But anyway.
Hey, tell your cat nobody's after it. It doesn't have to use the 22nd floor, exit strategy.
Yeah, I know. So Emily, Andre, Big Bad John's in the house. Who else we got? Daniel Falcon, welcome from Kerrville, Texas area. All right. And we got Daniel in the house, Moscow Settlers.
Yep. Doug, first one in the room.
Thanks, guys. We got 25 in the live tonight. So a couple of announcements, house cleaning, while we wait for some folks to join the live. But tell me down in the live chat, how many of you are watching from the new Sounding Off podcast channel on YouTube versus how many of you are coming from Moscow Photographer? So if you don't know, I have created a separate channel. If you're used to these podcasts being on the Moscow Photographer channel, they won't be for very long. Maybe a week, maybe another 2 weeks. From then on, all of our live streams with regard to geopolitics and all this good stuff will be on the Sounding Off podcast channel on YouTube. And we'll have the links. Actually, the link is in the show notes for you to go. So if you're here because you watch this podcast, you need to make sure you're subscribed to the Sounding Off podcast channel. Because if you look for it on Moscow Photographer channel, it won't be there very much longer. And Kevin's got a similar situation, right?
I do. So those of you coming through the American in Crimea channel, I've been dual streaming for a few weeks now. I put out the official notice from here on out. Go over to the InfoWars Press channel, subscribe there, because all my geopolitical stuff will be on that channel here in another week or 2. Go to both channels, go to all 4 channels, subscribe, like, leave a comment.
Yeah, we're having a little few technical difficulties, I think, in Crimea, or maybe it's it could be just Kevin's computer, who knows. But yeah, we're having some of that. But hopefully, guys, stick with us. I hope to have a special guest pop in later. He was unable to make a commitment to it, but he might be on a little later to give us some more information. But says so. Robotric says you now have a podcast tab on the channel. You could have opted to use that instead. I did. So on the Moscow Photographer channel, these Sounding Off are on the podcast. However, a lot of my audience is one or the other. One is here for podcasts. One is here for Moscow Photographer channel, and these energies were not jiving well for the channel, so I had to make a separate channel. And that's actually good. That means, Kevin, that we've actually grown to a point where we had to do this, and
Yep.
you've had to do it too. So this is good. This is growth. So
Yeah. So for me, anything Russia related or immigration related will stay on American in Crimea, life in Russia. Geopolitical stuff will only be on InfoWars Press. Emily, yeah, Dedyavova may stop by later.
yeah, maybe Dimitri. Who knows? But anyway, we have got some news to talk about because overnight there was a massive salvo of drones that invaded sovereign airspace over the Russian Federation near Moscow. And what Russian officials are calling as the biggest or the largest Ukrainian drone strike on Russian territory in 3 years. And they're reporting some 337 drones were launched across 10 Russian regions, 74 downed near Moscow alone. Casualties were reported. Russian sources report 3 deaths, 18 injuries, damage to residential buildings, to falling debris from intercepted drones. And I've got some footage that I can share with you guys. This next film, I had to mute the audio because there was a lot of cuss words in Russian, obviously. But let's see if we can get this one here of what the attack looked like in the early morning hours.
So after your videos, I have a question for you on this then.
I'm sorry, say again, because you were breaking up.
Oh, gee. Let me come back in. I'll be right back.
Okay, you be right back. In the meantime, I am going to show another video. We got this one here. That one hit very close to somebody's home. Let's go ahead and play that one again. Wow. And here I have another video of a house burning due to falling debris, most likely from a downed drone or an intercepted drone. And Kevin is back. And here is some stunning footage of an actual interception.
Я снял. Упал в березовый парк, по-моему. Но я не видел.
Way to go, Russian Air Force.
Yeah. So I do want to make a disclaimer just to keep us all legal like in Russia. Those of you who live in Russia, do not go out and make videos of strikes like this, or at least if you do not post them because it is illegal and they will come after you. Redovka gets away with it simply because of who they are, but you are not allowed to make videos of anti-aircraft strikes or anything like that. So just be aware of that. Hey,
and
Alex,
also,
thank you.
and also for our friends at FSB who may be watching this podcast, All of these clips were downloaded from X, so they are all in the public domain. Did not receive them
Not in
from.
Russia. It's still illegal.
Well, that's where I got it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So, yeah.
So I have a question for you on all this then.
Go ahead.
We have had a massive drone strike on Moscow and other regions. We have damage. We have people being killed. All while the Ukrainian delegation and Vladimir Zelensky, recognized in the Russian Federation as the illegal president of Ukraine, is in Saudi Arabia, and they're trying to get a peace negotiation or a ceasefire.
Yeah.
So what's up? What do you see in that, Eddie?
Just hours before the American and Russian delegations were to meet in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, we have this massive attack, this massive salvo launched at the Russian Federation. And what, because if you read X, of course, all of the pro-Ukrainian sites are saying, hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. And some of them are even saying these were launched from Russia. These are Russian drones because they want to sabotage the peace talks because Russia doesn't want peace. Okay, that's the narrative.
Yeah, as always. I mean, we shoot our own missiles at our own nuclear power plant down in Zaporozhye too.
Yeah, absolutely, all the time.
We want to blow ourselves up. Yeah. And
then you've got the other side of the pro-Ukrainian Xers that are happy that it happened and say we need more of this. Okay, this is exactly what we need. Now, some are blaming the United States. Why would the U.S. do this? What do we have to gain? Just hours, mind you, just hours before the delegations from both governments meet in Saudi Arabia. Okay? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, your surprise guest who may join us later will disagree with this statement. However, the United States is not providing intelligence to Ukraine anymore, as far as satellite intelligence. So are they getting that intelligence from somebody else? Because I seriously doubt that Ukraine targeted Russia that well with a pile of drones without some direction, because Russia has been using brand new electronic warfare to knock these things off course, and so they had to have some help in there. That's my opinion. But let's think about what Ukraine proposed to the United States in those negotiations today. A ceasefire that consists of no strikes from the sea, no missiles, and no attacks from the air. So no drones. No drones, no long-range missiles, nothing like that. Who does that proposal sound like it actually came from?
Well, if I had to guess, I would say Ukraine.
Yeah, guess. Come on, guess.
Yeah, I'm saying Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now here's the thing.
Ukraine got that ceasefire from France and the UK.
Well, from France and the UK.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the question that I have is And of course, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Could this have been planned maybe several months ago and just waiting for a right strategic time, for strategic timing to execute this this plan? So it could have already been planned out, could have been mapped out, could have been all this other stuff before, or in the lead up when Trump was signaling that, hey, I think I'm going to pull the intel from that. Rogue elements within our government, I'm saying the American government, the American intel agencies and foreign intel agencies said, hey, let's come up with a plan right now. Let's do it. Boom. We'll get it canned. We'll shelve it for now. And we'll wait for the opportune time to do this. So
Yeah, I could see that.
That's another possibility. So of course I'm just spitballing.
Yeah. Well, I think the other possibility is this is the UK, France, and gang and Ukraine trying to throw a wrench in any real peace negotiations. Because everybody knows that Russia, that plan that was put forward was to do nothing but take away the advantages that Russia currently has. Russia has drone superiority, they have missile superiority, they have air superiority. And to come up with that many drones for one night, going to your point, Eddie, they had to save them for a while because Russia has pretty much destroyed their drone manufacturing capabilities.
Yeah, and we haven't had any such attacks in several months. I think the last
not even in Crimea.
No, this was before the new year, so it's been probably about 3 months.
Them up. Yeah. So I think this is the UK and friends who don't want this conflict ended, using Zelensky as their mouthpiece. He now has a new set of puppet masters. And maybe it has the support of the deep state in the US, like you're saying, because after all, it makes Trump look bad too. He wants true peace. He's talking to Russia. He sent guys to talk to Ukraine. And Ukraine is proposing, basically, we want to keep fighting. We just don't want Russia to be shooting missiles and drones at us. So I bet they pretty much drained their drone supply last night.
I think so as well. And you bring up a really good point in that I'm sure DJT is fuming. I would imagine. I would just imagine, because of all the work that he and his administration have put in toward de-escalating the violence. And then you have this happen. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And of course, we know Russia will never accept this ceasefire. They're trying to make Russia look bad too. They know Russia won't agree to continue fighting, but without all the advantages they have. They still have the advantage because they have a lot more men they can draw on. But, the Kremlin, in their normal, very balanced and shall I say, patient mood, released a statement on this today. They're waiting to hear something from their U.S. partners.
Interesting.
They said that their U.S. partners will inform them when the time is right, and they will discuss it with them then.
Yeah, so I'm reading here that the U.S. delegation led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio began the peace talks in Jeddah, Ukraine, Saudi Arabia. There's been no direct comment so far, and this was maybe a couple of hours ago. No direct comment on the drone attack was attributed to Rubio, but the timing suggests a tense backdrop to negotiations.
Yeah.
And I have Politico here speaking, a Ukrainian official speaking anonymously to Politico proposed a truce in the sky and at sea, which is what you were talking about. So NATO hasn't said anything. NATO's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, well, let's keep in mind that NATO was leaning away from the UK and France on the whole deal.
Yeah, so very interesting. Who's been making comments and who hasn't, and how Russia has responded, at least in talks. Now, what's interesting to me is that in the past, Russia has never left an attack on Russian soil go unanswered.
I think tonight will be an interesting night in Ukraine.
That's a good question. Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm headed. Would the U.S. say, please don't? I don't think they would. Personally.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. But, Russia does not let attacks like this go unanswered. So when you've got Ukraine putting this, hey guys, let's stop the shooting. Let's go for a ceasefire. No missiles, no drones, no long range capability. Why? Because you know it's coming.
Yep.
You know it's coming. That's why. So very interesting.
You know, another interesting thing, and I posted this in my InfoWars Press Telegram channel yesterday. We supposedly have videos of Ukrainian soldiers talking about going to Kiev to overthrow the government. And I say unverified because I haven't been able to verify that it's true. It could be Russians dressed in Ukrainian uniforms. I actually didn't see any flags on the uniforms. But after what's going on in Kursk right now, I can see that maybe there's some discontent or at least very big lost morale in the armed forces of Ukraine.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Russian news, which is RIA Novosti, has put out a little bleat that says the U.S. delegation will very soon present the results of the meeting of the Ukraine with the Ukrainian side in Saudi Arabia. They noted that They noted that the negotiations were successful and Washington received positive news. Interesting. And then we also have information, and where did I read this? I think this was earlier today. Yeah. Steve Witkoff, who's Trump's special envoy, will meet with Putin on the 13th, so in 2 more days. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes and what they discuss and what they tell us that they discussed.
Yeah, and what they say Ukraine agreed to, because they can't be stupid enough to think that Russia will agree to a pause just to rearm Ukraine.
Mike here says NATO's acting like the jilted soon-to-be ex-wife, trying to lose weight, griping to her girlfriends, and blaming everyone but herself for her situation. I'd like to apologize to all ex-wives who are in the chat at the moment, but yeah, that's funny. But yeah, Very, very similar to that.
Yeah.
And Emily here says there is as well a big loss of morale in pro-Ukrainian channels on YouTube. I don't visit any of those channels, so I wouldn't know. Thanks for the heads up on that. And
I actually have two of them I go to, not because they are anything other than extremely reliable sources. They don't tend to talk about, too much about morale and what's going on. They talk more about what's going on in the administration because they're insiders. And they're pretty much, Zelensky's on his last days, and morale is low.
yeah, definitely on their last legs. I hear that Russian forces have crossed the Dnieper River and gone
I
further
heard that
into.
yesterday, but I
Go
haven't
ahead.
seen that confirmed on any of the mappers. So,
Yeah, I guess I read the same thing then.
yeah. Most of the mappers are still showing them about 5 kilometers away.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments here, trying to catch up. If y'all have any questions, have any special comments or anything, please write them in the live chat, and we will get to them as soon as we can. Let's see what else we got here. Let me ask the audience. Who do you think done it? Who done it?
Who done it?
Who done it? What do you think? So here we have B10 Wold. Just in from RT, Trump lifts a pause on Ukraine aid and security assistance immediately, according to Waltz. Interesting. I gotta read the between the lines on that, because aid and security assistance can mean band-aids, bandages. You know what I mean? It could mean anything.
Yeah, that's a pretty broad statement, and I don't think that at this point the United States is going to agree to too much.
I don't think so. Country Gal, did you see Rubio comment just now? No, I didn't. So if you could please share it with us, I'd appreciate that. And Andre K says here, Ukraine with their partners from Europe, maybe Great Britain or France. Definitely, I think both may have been involved. And the other question is, does NATO have access to U.S. satellites? According to the Trump administration, not anymore. But who knows?
Yeah. So according to the Trump administration, they forbade NATO and the United Kingdom from providing intelligence from U.S. satellites. However, our maybe tonight surprise guest will say, saying that they don't and them not having it is likely two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mike Lacey says Brits, Ukraine, and dissident elements in the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. Quite possibly, because the U.S. is fighting a broader war, a proxy war, which was admitted by Marco Rubio not too long ago. But there is also an internal war within the Beltway with the Trump administration. So there's two wars going on. And that second war that's happening in D.C., that one spooks me because You never know. And rumors that the Finns use commercial sats to provide target data. Who knows?
So I'm looking at Marco Rubio's latest statements, and it says there is need for concessions by both sides. This is just a summary. The United States is in listening mode, and they want to ascertain where Ukraine stands and what they're willing to do in order to achieve peace. There is no military solution. He has optimism. Aid. He says a demonstrated commitment from Ukraine to the peace process could shift U.S. policy on aid. And he commented positively on Ukraine's reported proposal for a partial ceasefire, specifically an aerial and naval truce, saying, I'm not saying that alone is enough, but it's the kind of concession you would need to see in order to end the conflict. So they're saying that it indicates an openness to incremental steps. But the tone of that I read from him is they know perfectly well that that Russia isn't going to agree with that.
Right.
And he expects that the mineral deal will happen, but not necessarily today.
Interesting. Here's another interesting.
And there have been no statements after the talks as
yet.
of tonight by Rubio.
So growing up, Rosie says Israel has access and might have shared info. So maybe a third party. Yeah, maybe.
Well, this is what our potential guest says. There's lots of guys who have access and may have shared it, even though they were told not to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That happens all the time. And where is my guest? He said maybe an hour, and that was an hour ago. So let me send a quick message.
Oh, Streamlabs is mad at me because Streamlabs has been a nasty moderator to some of the people, telling them not to post links when they aren't, things like that. Now Streamlabs is screaming at me in the chat about needing to be a moderator.
So you need to moderate yourself?
Yeah, Streamlabs wants to moderate me. So Country Gal says he's calling for a 30-day ceasefire. Actually, this is not what Rubio said. So, and yes, Alex, Ukraine did attack X, according to Musk.
Yeah, that's another interesting. So we had a cyber attack from Ukraine going west to America, and then we had a kinetic attack from Ukraine going east, all within about 24 hours of each other. Quite interesting.
So that last comment I was referring to on the 30-day ceasefire, there is no evidence that Marco Rubio has made that statement as of March 11th at 7:36 p.m. CET. Without further evidence, it seems Rubio did not state that a 30-day ceasefire should be accepted by Russia in his latest remarks.
Country Gal says that's posted on YouTube. So we don't doubt you, Country Gal, at all. but
You have to
what
consider
you
your
read
source.
might have been false information.
Yeah, I see a lot on YouTube right now, particularly B-level news sources, where they put these giant headlines on, like, Putin agrees to Trump's proposal. And you turn it on, and what it is it is a, from back when he was arguing with Zelensky, or, when he was Musk in his office. They put these blazing headlines on, and they have absolutely nothing to do with reality.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rosie says, Russia will refuse anyway.
Guys, excuse me for 1 second, and I'll be right back. You're in good hands.
You're in good hands with Allstate. No, this is not sponsored. I am not insured by Allstate. Let's see. So anyone got any questions? The DDoS attack is a lie, probably from NSA jump servers. Not sure what you're referring to here. There are actually a lot of DDoS attacks, particularly in the Crimea region, which is why I keep disappearing. And my alternate two networking companies, one in Moscow, one in St. Petersburg, have been reporting DDoS attacks as well. Yeah, I agree, Alex. RT's pretty good at only sharing verifiable news. I was actually on yesterday talking about some issues. They use experts that are verified. So I'm a verified RT contributor. Let's see, Alex. Poland has detained a Ukrainian woman accused of illegally selling 56 kidneys. Well, the FSB has detained a Ukrainian who was planning to blow up some things in Russia. Adam Scott's, wrong one. Adam Scott saying a hacker group took credit for an attack on Twitter. Yeah, and who knows? Where was the hacker group? Was the hacker group in Ukraine? Because they have big hacker groups there, just like Russia has them, just like the United States has them, just like Northern Ireland has them, just like Greenland has them. Or is it Iceland? I forget which one has the big Western-based ones. I know what a jump server is, but your comment didn't make any sense. Stylianos. You back with us, Eddie?
I'm back, and
Okay.
Mike says most of those NAFO bots have been paid actors. Their activities time perfectly with business hours at Langley, including weekends and federal holidays. Yeah, you notice that. On federal holidays, you don't. Go ahead.
I will deny that. We actually never operated out of Langley. Us propagandists, anyway. I don't know. NAFO, they're all over the place, but... Yeah, can't get that to go away. I agree with this. I agree with this 100%. NAFO higher-ups, which essentially is... what's the big news source that's paid by the U.S. government? You know what I mean. Huh?
New York Times?
Well, New York Times, Reuters. Yeah. No, I forget the name of them at this point. Big NGO, supposedly, that's unbiased, that puts out all the pro-West propaganda.
Wow. That you want to narrow that down because that's a pretty big list.
Yeah. So, Country Gal, provide a link because, as we already said, just because you saw it on YouTube doesn't make it so. You know, official sources are saying Rubio never made any such a statement and that they are in listening mode. And they're listening to Ukraine, and then they will go talk to Russia and listen to Russia. So there aren't actual negotiations going on according to sources in Saudi Arabia.
Stuart Bear has a question. Will the Russian army take Odessa? Seems it has to happen.
You want to comment, or are you waiting for me to comment?
I'm waiting for you to comment.
Okay. I will give you the definitive answer to this question. I don't know. You know, if the fighting continues, I think they will. Right now, I think they're more concerned about pushing to the limits of Lugansk, Donetsk, Kherson, maybe into the Dnipro Oblast. I think you'll see them going into, with the current situation on the maps right now, probably a little closer, if not all the way through Kharkiv. The problem they've got with Odessa is they have to get the troops over the Dnieper Basin and then fight on down around the bottom to Odessa. And that'll take quite a bit of fighting, quite a big bunch of men. So I don't know if they're just going to reduce Odessa to rubble or if they will actually, push a land corridor through to Transnistria, who supposedly should be out of electricity right now. But we haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, and if you ask me about this question, I don't know if the Russian army would take it or not. I believe that if they don't, and they just take the territories as listed before, like Lugansk and Donetsk, that going forward, it may become, Odessa could become like a DMZ, a demilitarized zone, a neutral area with some sort of security guarantees, by whom I don't know. But I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. And I'm going to let everybody off the hook. Our special guest won't be able to make it. So.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, you got us.
So, yeah. So a demilitarized zone, I can see that, but it would likely be a demilitarized zone like in the Koreas. I don't think you're going to find Russia agreeing to peacekeeping forces from NATO in there because, again, it's just a ploy to rearm Ukraine. The other problem I see with this ceasefire proposal, as far as Russia even considering something like that, or the United States even proposing to Russia something like that, he may bring Zelensky's proposal to Russia and say, what do you think? However, Ukraine has not been very good at keeping their word in any other proposals that they agreed to, like Minsk 1 and 2, signing the peace deal in Turkey. So, I think Russia will view that as nothing more than a ploy to delay things for 30 days to rearm Ukraine.
Yes.
So, other than the fact that my mouse just died, I was just looking at what's going on in Transnistria. Their big issue appears to be that gas isn't flowing there through the pipelines anymore, which is kind of an interesting thing because Ukraine shot themselves in the foot the other day. When they halted gas transit to Europe, some of the European countries, the ones that still aren't supporting giving them funding, said, if you don't give us gas, we aren't going to support you for funding. So what happened is the gas pipelines drained of gas. Russia, a few days ago, blew up the gas pumping stations, the gas storage in Ukraine, which, of course, released the rest of the gas. And then what did they use in Kursk to move, what was it, like 15 kilometers inside Russian-held territory? Crawling, 800 men crawling through the gas pipeline.
Wow.
And popping out in the middle of Kursk.
Welcome, Georges. He says, my guess is a little Napoleon and Stormer along with their supporters that are behind this. Absolutely, I would agree with that. And hello, Edelwolf. Edelwolf in the house. And Mike is saying that Russia is going to keep going until Russia decides to stop. What are the odds they go to Kiev? I don't know. That's sort of like the Odessa question. I don't know. I just really don't know. I see. Let me just say this one point. You can say what you want.
Yep.
I see Kiev as a major escalation if you try to take it. That's how I see it, as an American.
Yeah, I don't know. Even if they do go to Kiev, they won't cross the Dnieper. They will only take half of it. Same as Dnipro Oblast. They'll go to the river and then they'll stop. If they go that far.
If they go that far. Now let's back up and let's answer it from this point of view, because we're answering it from a position of the Trump administration. But what if we had Obama, what would it be? Obama 4.0 now, if we had Kamala Harris in office?
Yeah.
At that point, I could see Russian forces going all out. Yeah, definitely. Now I think it would be just a needless escalation.
Yeah. So I'm going to kill this off. This is the last I'm going to say on it because I'm not going to argue with people. You guys are taking information off of X. You're posting it as the truth, but you haven't done enough research to find out what is the truth. I am looking at Marco Rubio's X account right now. And the last thing he said was, I had an important meeting in Jeddah today with Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud and thanked him for Saudi Arabia's hospitality in hosting this week's meeting on Ukraine as we press for peace. And that was his last statement. So if anyone else is saying that he has said anything else, he himself is disagreeing with you.
He has, because I'll just say this right now. When I stepped away just a moment ago, Marco Rubio was speaking live. I don't know on what, maybe X platform or wherever, but he was live. and he
Could
was
be.
delivering comments about today. So I think maybe that's where they're getting this from, but we haven't seen it in print. And since we're on the live, I can't go and check to see what he's saying. So maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. We'll sort it all out. But
Yeah, I think people are misreading what he said, if anything.
yeah,
That's
so
my
we'll see. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen after we close this out. I'm gonna go chase that down and listen, and we'll see what Rubio had to say. So it's going to be an interesting evening. If there's a response, an immediate response from Armed Forces Russia, or are they going to wait for a more strategic time, or are they just going to take a deep breath and let the diplomatic process kind of mature a bit? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. X says that Rubio isn't actively live tweeting or streaming, but who knows?
Yeah.
As of
No, I
right
got
now.
you there. I got you there. So, well, dang, we had a really interesting guest who we were going to try to get on for some good commentary. I'm still trying to get this person on a live, maybe later during the week, so we can recap all of this. And once I know for sure that we got him, I will make the announcement. You'll see it here. You'll see it on American Crimea's channel as well. But yeah.
And yeah, just so people don't think he's flaky, he's not. He is dealing with some medical issues that limit his time that he can spend sitting here with us.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm been trying to nail him down, and he wants to come on. And actually, we were shooting maybe for Thursday or Friday. This happened, and so I invited him last minute, about 4 or 5 p.m., and he said, "I'll try." And then he said, "Maybe in an hour," and then yeah, it didn't work out. So no big deal, no big deal. Okay. I got you, Alex. We'll figure it out, man. Nobody's calling anybody a liar or anything like that. Just that we're just trying to figure it out. But
Nobody's calling you a liar. We're just got to see it before I believe it.
Yeah, and I can't. It's hard to
speculation.
It's hard to be on the live and kind of monitor what's going on X and other places, and then all that good stuff. But anyway, so hopefully it will be a quiet evening. Who knows? But it's going to be an interesting week for sure. So what's going on? So we have some sort of answer from Russia toward Ukraine about these drone strikes. At the same time, we had talks today in Saudi Arabia, and we have who is coming? What is his name? Trump's envoy. Steve Witkoff will be here in Moscow on the 13th to have a meeting with President Putin. So lots going on this week. And yeah. Hey, Raymond. Raymond's in the house.
Yeah. So here, let me just make people feel better about us. CNN, right now, as of this moment, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Tuesday that Ukraine had accepted a 30-day ceasefire proposed by the United States following critical peace talks. And he claims it was proposed by Rubio and the U.S. delegation. It says Ukraine accepts this proposal We consider it positive. We're ready to take such a step, and the United States must convince Russia to do so. This would enact an immediate 30-day ceasefire, which can be extended by mutual agreement and does not include just land and sea. It is a total ceasefire by both sides. So that is what CNN is saying. So now, how reliable is CNN?
Yeah, and I don't know. My sense is there's some misdirection play there. I don't know.
This is a smart woman, and this is what I want everyone to understand. This is all that we're trying to say here. No one knows until there's official statements, because the statements earlier were that Zelensky proposed it, but it was only a sea and air. Now Zelensky is claiming that the United States proposed it. And I agree, Rosie, I wouldn't trust CNN either, but
yeah, I don't trust when left-leaning, say, or Democrats or whatever run to their favorite network that's in their back pocket to release something, because to me it always sounds like propaganda. And somehow I feel this CNN article that you just read is somewhat a bit of a misdirection play. And until Rubio or the Trump administration puts out something definitive, I'm going to say maybe 50-50.
Yeah. Sky News is a UK-based propaganda arm as well.
Same with Bloomberg.
Yeah. As Rosie said, when there are official statements, so Russia won't accept it. If there is a total ceasefire, there is the possibility, I actually did some research on this a little earlier before we came on the air. Russia might be open to it, but it will require additional concessions from Ukraine. They will not ceasefire at the current line of combat. The statements that I'm seeing, and again, it's just statements by unofficial sources, is that Russia will require them to leave Russian territory, which means all of the 4 regions that have been taken as new territories of Russia. So Ukraine would have to withdraw from them. If Ukraine agreed to do that, and there's no NATO troops patrolling things. So this is the problem with a thing like this. Everyone is trying to determine what is meant by a ceasefire, and we don't know. There's been a proposal by somebody for 30 days. We've heard the UK say one thing. We've heard Zelensky say 2 things. And until all sides have talked and they've gone back and forth a little bit, we won't know. I agree that they won't accept it at the current combat line.
Yeah, so I'm on X right now, and 50 minutes ago, RT is reported, and this is the tweet: Ukraine ready to accept immediate 30-day ceasefire proposed by U.S. What does that mean? That tells me absolutely nothing. They're ready to accept it. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll do it. That doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Keep in mind, they were ready to sign a mineral rights deal too.
Exactly. And then the next line is Washington to lift pause on flow of weapons and intel to Ukraine. Statement after Saudi talks. So this whole thing is kind of cryptic, but it's going to get, it'll spread like wildfire. But if when you get to the meat of what is being said, it doesn't tell me anything. So I don't know. I do not know.
Raymond, smart man again. The other thing is, you know, when you're hearing live statements on TV, they're quite often edited for effect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, Mike, this was a topic that we talked about on Sunday, and I was hoping a little bit more detail on it because I will tell you, I know nothing about the internal strife and violence and the civil war that has been going on for years in Syria. I do not know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm
And
not real knowledgeable on it either. We had a guest we were hoping to have, yeah.
Yeah, we were hoping to have a guest to explain this, and I still want to bring this guest on that can give us some really, really good, solid information about this. So stay tuned. Like I said, man, I've got some ambitious plans. We both do. Kevin does as well. Some ambitious plans for our channels with different guests, and you know, trying to step it up. So we're working on it.
Ivan has a statement from Putin here. If I can get it up there. So Putin says no ceasefire even during the negotiations.
There you go.
Those of you who don't speak Russian, that's what it says.
Country gal, no need to feel sorry or apologize at all. It's just, yeah,
Yep.
It's just, this is information. This is the information age. This is the information warfare. It happens. And sometimes there's things that RT puts out that I do not trust either. So it goes both ways.
Yep. And Russia puts out a bit of propaganda, so different kind of propaganda, but more keeping Russians supporting the nation type of thing.
Yeah, it's more rah rah rah, you know, than anti this or anti that. I've watched an interview. I started to watch an interview with Alexander Dugin that Judge had. I didn't get to finish it, and supposedly he had an interview, I believe, yesterday. I don't know if it's up yet with Sergei Lavrov. Can you all see my cat behind me?
Yeah.
Can you all see?
I don't see the cat. So
knock down my light. There's the cat.
Yeah. Now we see the cat. So he and it's too late. What's his name?
God, spit it out, Junior.
I know who he is. So Judge Knapp and I think he said like 5 other people were talking to Lavrov.
It was Larry Johnson. Was another guy.
So
Judge
Knapp
and a few
Larry
others.
Johnson did a stream yesterday about the interview and how they were treated, Lavrov's attitude towards things. And then he did part 1 and part 2 of the Dugin thing. I've listened to part 1. I haven't heard part 2 yet. I've got it posted in my Telegram channel if you guys are interested. I don't know if I even have a banner out there for it.
I've got a question because Alexander Dugin has been in the news quite a bit lately since his interview with Tucker, if y'all saw that. And if you talk to Russians, it's quite interesting because there's some rather strong opinions about Alexander Dugin among Russians, not all Russians, but some. And sometimes they're 180 degrees apart from each other. So
Yeah.
I it's very interesting if you go and read the comments on either from Judge Knapp or where did I see this? I saw this on Telegram, on Larry Johnson's uh, Telegram channel. He was talking about the interview with Dugan, and you should see the
Yeah.
level of hate toward Alexander Dugan, and he's kind of an enigma for me. I could sit here and listen to him for hours, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of people who demonize him as well. So I don't know if maybe this is something we might have a live stream to discuss this in more detail. And I wish I could find a guest who is an expert on Alexander Dugan. But yeah,
Yeah.
interesting guy.
So, Yvonne, I just wanted to say you're welcome. Always glad to share important messages. Yeah, I know. Part of the problem I have with YouTube right now is they won't allow us to upload subtitles. So you're pretty much stuck in Yandex browser, and my wife says their subtitles aren't great, but you might try the voiceover. She says they're actually pretty good in the Yandex browser. That's the main reason I haven't been subtitling my stuff in Russian, because I just don't have time these days. So try the voiceover, see if that's a little better. Leave me a comment, let me know, and if not, we'll resolve that somehow.
Yeah, Dugan is a tiny bit insane on the surface. He has some really interesting ideas, but you need to go deep into his lore if you want to even start understanding what he's all about. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. He's very, very deep individual, and I've heard some Russians say that he's a racist, that he's anti this, he's pro white Russian, and I don't hear any of that when I hear him speak. So I don't know where that's coming from, but I've heard both sides. Some people like him, some people don't.
Yeah, I agree.
enjoy-
I mean,
I
he's
enjoy
like
the
any
debate.
philosopher. You have to take things with a grain of salt. It's his opinion.
Absolutely. And you have to respect.
Andy!
Andy's in the house. Yeah, so you're a personal fit. Yeah, you're a fan. There you go. So we have Mike saying that Lavrov met with Judge and Larry and a couple of others on Monday. Video should be Russian Foreign Ministry website. Wow, soon.
So Doug says that, and again, I haven't verified this, but he says that Russia has unloaded a response on Ukraine.
Interesting.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Not at
Little
all.
quick for Russia. Usually they delay it a day or two, but maybe this is part of the surprise. Is well, this time let's hit them right away.
Yeah. Let's show them what we're capable of. So, 14 minutes ago, Zelensky has posted on X. He says he received a report from the delegation with the American team in Saudi. And he says, our position remains absolutely clear. Ukraine has been seeking peace, yada, yada, yada. He says, Ukraine, this is Zelensky speaking, at this meeting with Americans, Ukraine proposed 3 key points: silence in the skies, stopping missile strikes, bombs, and long-range drone attacks; silence at sea, real confidence building measures, in this whole situation in which diplomacy is ongoing, which primarily means the release of prisoners of war and detainees, both military and civilian, and the return of Ukrainian children who were forcibly transferred to Russia. Yeah, I don't.
This is why, until we get official statements, you can't take anything, because CNN is saying that Zelensky said that they agreed to a 30-day total ceasefire. So what's the truth? We won't know the truth.
Right. So from Zelensky's mouth, he says, during today's talks, the U.S. side proposed taking an even bigger first step, a 30-day full interim ceasefire, not only stopping missile, drone, and bomb attacks, not only in the Black Sea, but also along the entire front line. He says it was proposed, didn't say it's going to happen. Then his final statement is, Ukraine is ready to accept this proposal. We see it as a positive step. Now it is up to the United States to convince Russia. If Russia agrees, the ceasefire will take effect immediately. So there you have it from the man. And now I see.
We know that he is reliable, honest, and always tells the truth.
Yeah. And now we have Marco Rubio, and I see him with Waltz. They're speaking to, of course, this is on CNN, but it says, this is quoting Marco Rubio, we've offered Ukraine an immediate ceasefire. That's exactly what Zelensky said. They accepted. That's what Zelensky said. We will now take this to the Russians. The ball is now in their court. Well, that's pretty much what Zelensky said. So, all right. Now
where are you seeing Rubio's statement?
This is on X, and it was posted by World Hall of Fun. And they've got the interview with Waltz on CNN. But they're quoting Rubio.
Well, they're quoting Rubio.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I want to see what comes out of Rubio and Waltz's mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes out of this.
Why did Garon drones fly in a huge circle before striking their targets? Because they have washing machine chips in them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Country Gal, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch that video and see what he says. But so far, I mean, those two statements match. And so basically what they're saying is that the U.S. proposed total ceasefire. Ukraine said, good idea. We accept that. And U.S. said, okay, we'll take this to the Russians and we'll see what they say. And I can almost tell you what I think Russia will say, but we'll have to wait for that. We'll have to wait for that.
Yeah, I think we can pretty much figure out what Russia will say.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll wait to hear it from the horse's mouth. So, all right.
So, again, Zelensky is giving more detail. I'm looking at this statement right now, too. They have a joint U.S.-Ukraine statement outlining an interim 30-day ceasefire. And he said, we'll take this offer now to the Russians, and we hope they will reciprocate. So what does that mean? It does not necessarily mean they hope they will accept it. They hope they will reciprocate by saying, okay, we'll agree to this with these changes to it. Zelensky asked for this. The United States convinced him to do this. So now it's up to Russia to say, well, okay, but we want this. So things could happen, but till we see what the proposal is, there's no telling. And we can't say that Putin won't go for it because we don't know what's in it.
Exactly. So this is just the how we say, this is the cover page of the
Yeah.
the proposal that's going to Russia. So we don't know.
What can you tell about the novel War and Peace if you've seen nothing but the cover page that says War and Peace?
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Michelification, I agree with you, but hey. I'm not going to put it up on the screen.
Oh, okay. All right. We got some stuff that was starred. Did we talk about it already? Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, we did.
Yep.
We covered that. Let's see what else we got.
Jokes about clogged pipes in Europe. People are scared it's Russians and their sewer pipes.
Yeah. Hey guys, we got 82 now in the live stream, and it's been fairly steady for an hour. Thanks to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. And I want to take this opportunity to say it again in case you showed up late or in case you haven't seen my video announcement on the Moscow Photographer channel. But I have made another YouTube channel for hosting the Sounding Off podcast. So it will, for maybe another week or so, it will be dual streamed on Moscow Photographer channel and this new channel, the Sounding Off podcast. But in about a week or so, it's going to go away. So make sure you subscribe to the Sounding Off podcast channel. The link is down below. And this is where you'll get this content, my walk and talks, my geopolitical rants, and a little bit edgier ed than you find on Moscow Photographer. So do that. And you've got an announcement as well, I think, because you're trying to move some things around.
Yep. I have been dual streaming to American in Crimea and InfoWars Press. I'll get the right hand down here. So maybe for another week I will stream to both channels, but then I am cutting all geopolitical stuff off of the American in Crimea channel. So also head on over here and subscribe to InfoWars Press if you enjoy the content Eddie and I are creating together here.
Absolutely.
And if you want Russian-based life stuff, Moscow Photographer and American in Crimea.
Absolutely. And I'm going to invite each and every one of you, if you're not already, go and subscribe to the Moscow Photographer channel on Telegram and on my X account, which is, I think I have a banner for it somewhere. It's comrade_EG. I think it's not here. Dang it.
So Alex is saying if you guys aren't getting notifications from YouTube, Rumble gives better notifications. I know I'm there. I don't know if you are, Eddie.
On what? On Rumble?
On Rumble.
I am. I do have a Rumble channel, Moscow Photographer, but I have not posted videos or lives to there in a long time because Rumble is just kind of a different animal. And
they don't pay squat.
And they don't pay squat. Not that YouTube pays quite nicely either. But
YouTube is paying bars of gold compared to Rumble.
Pennies, we'll see but they're golden pennies.
Because I'm monetized over there now.
Oh, are you? You got that all sorted out?
Well, I got approved to apply for monetization, but you know what I went through to actually get that. So.
Do you know who this person is? We've got Catherine E. asking. Konstantin Malyov. I have no idea who that is.
Huh. Constantine
There we go. Google's your friend.
Mal. No, I lost you in the tabs here. Malofeev. Actually, Yandex is my friend.
Mm-hmm. Even better.
Russian billionaire. Owns shares of Rostelcom.
AKA
Oligarch.
oligarch.
Yeah.
All right. And we got Stalianos Kostudianos. I hope I didn't butcher that handle of yours, but free the cat, Mr. Eddie.
I think we should all go protest outside of Eddie's building for freeing the cat.
So, yeah, he knocked down my light, but here you can see the cat back here, right? Yeah.
Looks like a troublemaker.
Yeah, his name is Krasavchik, and Krasavchik means handsome. So, and he's just chilling back there. Yeah, just chilling back here.
Okay, well, I'm over my allocated time, and
we're already at an hour and 21 minutes, and we're just BSing here. Yeah. Catherine E, thanks. You can always go back and rewind and watch it. So, yeah, British. Exactly. There's a British spy behind me, according to where is it? Miss Allocation. Yeah, he's definitely comfortable back there, country gal. All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on this Tuesday evening.
Don't go there, Emily.
Oh. So I will announce that we've got a live stream coming up on Thursday. I haven't announced it yet, but I'll give you guys a heads up. But y'all know Tim Kirby. Y'all know the American Villages project here in Russia. If you don't, go to Yandex, put in Tim Kirby American Villages project. And this is all about helping to bring Americans and English-speaking Westerners to migrate to Russia. And we have a success story because on Thursday evening, 9 p.m., we will have an American who brought his family over from, of all places, Texas to Russia and to live in the American Villages Project. Go ahead.
It's one of two success stories, although it's the first one who's actually in their home. The other ones are moving in shortly. So here's Tim's website.
Yeah, so this is a big success for American Villages. So tune in on Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Well, 9 p.m. Moscow, which is what, 1 p.m. Central?
Yeah, 2 Eastern, 1 Central.
2 Eastern, 1 Central, stateside, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, that's going to be a really, really cool live stream. All right, my friend, any closing thoughts?
And if you want to know more about the village, I have 2 or 3 live streams I did with Tim over on the American in Crimea channel, Life in Russia. So, that can give you some background on it, building up to Thursday's stream.
Yeah, Tim's good people, and he's been in Russia for a long time. He's the most Russian American that you will ever meet.
Good friend.
So, yeah, he's a good guy. Good guy. Father Joseph Gleason, I've met him once. He's been shepherding Americans to Russia for 10 plus years. Yeah, sure has. So, and he'd be another good guy to get on the stream if we can one day.
I have been trying to get Father Joe on a stream for a while, and he's just a tough guy to squeeze in. His schedule is just crazy. You know, he is an IT guy as well, so.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Stilianos, like I said, I hope I'm not butchering that, but push for happy stories. Absolutely. So, you know, I started this podcast as just a way to express my aggravation with the Biden administration and with all of that. And now my blood pressure is a little bit lower now because we see some positive things happening in America and around the world. So we're going to change up this channel a bit. So it will be lighter and a lot more fun as well.
Yep.
And just one more before we go, because there's another Joseph that we know. Joseph Schutzman moved to Russia about a year ago. Also another fellow Texan, not born in Texas, but I'll still claim him as a Texan. And I'd love to have him one day. And we've been working on that. But Joseph works very, very hard and very, very long hours. So that's why it's hard to get him in when it's convenient for us. But yeah, Joseph will come on anytime. And we're going to make that happen.
I haven't met Joseph, so.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, yeah, you haven't been over here. So.
No.
But yeah, he's a good guy. Okay, folks, 1 hour and 26 minutes. It's time for me to say buenas noches.
We will not allow the enemy to pass.
Yeah, and I will say good night in Russian, which is spokojной ночи. До завтра.
Buenas noches is not Russian.
No, buenas noches is not Russian. But spokojной ночи is. You know. До завтра, until tomorrow. Okay, guys. Y'all have a good one. Пока.
Spokojnej noci, do svidania.
Absolutely.